Building 21, Verdansk, Modern Warfare 2. There is a chance that all three of these things are linked, and Building 21 might actually be hidden in Verdansk, right under our noses in Modern Warfare 2 as an Easter egg. This is a really cool theory that the community have been discussing for the last day, so I want to provide my 2 cents on it and explain where this idea has come from, as well as look at all the evidence that supports this idea, and then also talk about some of the things that don't quite add up. So this whole story begins with the fact of when Building 21 was announced, its location was classified. We know it's in a separate location that's not our Mazra, but it's up to us to work out exactly where it is. Well, when you spawn into a game of Building 21, we see a tac-map in the top left for about 5 to 10 seconds, and this is the only clues we have on its location. As you can see, the building is absolutely huge and it resides within a crater. Now, the moment I saw this in game for the first time, I was immediately suspicious of seeing a crater, and my first thoughts were, could this be on the moon? But this is not Black Ops Zombies, this is Modern Warfare. So we've got to think a bit more realistically. And the only time in Modern Warfare's timeline that there's ever been something which is going to cause a crater to form is going to be the destruction of Verdansk. Cast your minds back all the way to 2021, where Verdansk was past the point of no return, and attempts to contain the zombie outbreak had failed. The entire map was being overrun by corruption zones, the gas, and the zombie outbreak, where the containment protocol reached critical level, and with the infected population of Verdansk overtaking the healthy population, the only answer left was launching a nuclear missile to completely destroy Verdansk as we know it, engulfing the entire map, leaving absolutely nothing left. And that's all we've seen of modern day Verdansk. This is also the moment that we all saw the entire process reversed, as time literally reversed from modern day to 1984 Verdansk. So with that nuclear missile destroying Verdansk, its impact has had to have left a absolutely gigantic crater, which we see on the Building 21 tac-map. So now let's try and work out exactly where Building 21 could fit if it was indeed Verdansk. Now, there are very little details on the Building 21 tac-map, but you can see some sort of vegetation and forestry in the top left, as well as, more importantly, 2 separate roads, one in the bottom left and one in the bottom right. Now, we're going to look at both of these roads a lot closer up in a moment, but before we do that, we now need to go look at the Verdansk map and try and overlay Building 21's 2 roads to see if it matches with anywhere on Verdansk. Well, thanks to Twitter user ModenasHD, we can see exactly that. Massive credit to him for putting this idea out there into the community. I'll have his tweet and Twitter profile linked down below. Please go ahead and show this post some love and also give him a follow. But on your screen right now is Building 21, and now this is Building 21 with Verdansk overlaid on top of it, right by the stadium and downtown. And as you can see, those 2 very specific sets of roads on the bottom left and the right match up perfectly to the roads you can see on Verdansk that are also in line with those red markings. So much so that if you put that all together and then have Building 21 on top, it shows that basically the entirety of downtown has now become this crater that Building 21 is in. Now, already alarm bells should be ringing at how incredibly accurate that all lines up. The roads match the same right by the stadium, and the nuclear missile's locked location precisely on where the road on the right side of Building 21 is. But I wanted to dive even further in, as the image Modenas used was Verdansk 84 and not modern day Verdansk. So if there was any doubt because it was compared with Verdansk 84, I wanted to use modern day Verdansk. So in order to get this to line up perfectly, the Verdansk map has to be tilted almost 180 degrees in order to get this to perfectly line up. But here we have modern day Verdansk, and then overlaying Building 21, the roads do match up again, just like they do for Verdansk 84. Now, connecting all of these dots, we can assume that Building 21 has the potential of being set in Verdansk, where we are playing on a post-nuked Verdansk, where things have started to be built back again, and makes even more sense when you consider that Shadow Company are the ones that built up Building 21. You got to think, why would they do that? Well, going back to the introduction of Shadow Company in Modern Warfare 2019, they were added in Season 5. They were brought in to help seek Viktor Zakayev intercepting a signal at the stadium. They blew up the stadium and began their hunt, and realized later that he used the underground metro system to escape undetected. So in the end, Shadow Company operatives remain in Verdansk to continue the fight against Al-Qatala. Now, we can all assume that Shadow Company suffered huge losses with operatives that tried to contain the outbreak staying in Verdansk. And the three main figureheads for Shadow Company that we learned of in Modern Warfare was Lurch, Rose, and Velikan. And we don't know what's happened to Lurch, but we know that Rose left Shadow Company. And we know that because of her bio in the Modern Warfare 2 operator screen. It also makes reference to the destruction of Verdansk and the zombie outbreak as being canon to the Modern Warfare storyline. So this being explained within Modern Warfare 2 just confirms that everything that happened absolutely happened and is connected to this game. With the only one remaining being Velikan, and Velikan is a very important character in this whole theory because Velikan is the main boss of Building 21 that tries to kill any operators in his sight with his grenade launcher. And if you recall the end of MW2's campaign, we know that Philip Graves is no longer alive. As the CEO of Shadow Companies, they're suffering a huge loss, and General Shepard was working with Shadow Company, turning his back on Task Force 141. And at the end of the campaign, we know that he's just gone off grid. His whereabouts are currently unknown. What if he's working again with Shadow Company to help them create Building 21 and have the building exist for a unique purpose? The fact it is a lab in itself is pretty suspicious, but there are tons of strange rooms within this. There is so much more than meets the eye. You've got a whole floor dedicated to a laboratory where there's a hospital, there is a biolab, there is a lot of really obscure lore that's being told in Building 21, and if it was tied in any way to the nuking of Verdansk and its relation to the radiation zones that were in Verdansk prior and also the zombies outbreak, then you're starting to link some really exciting ideas together as to why Building 21 exists and what sort of crazy things we could see from it. Now, of course, you've seen the zombies in the thumbnail, and there is a chance that whatever's happening with Building 21, they're clearly experimenting with a ton of extremely weird elements, and we aren't quite sure why. Some of the resources that they're using and experimenting with could have come directly from the crater and the surrounding area itself and trying to harness that for their own. There is every chance that that could be related to what happened with the previous outbreak in Modern Warfare, although the way in which zombies ended up in Warzone and Modern Warfare was completely bonkers, with a ship traveling through time bringing zombies to modern day. I doubt that will happen again, but if there was any chance of zombies making their way narratively into Modern Warfare 2, this would be the only explanation if this was from the aftermath of the outbreak in Verdansk, if this area is even set in that crater in Verdansk. And that's not me saying that zombies are going to be coming, because I highly doubt it is Modern Warfare after all, but if they wanted to do it, then I think this is the most sensible way. If Building 21 is in Verdansk, then this is a incredibly exciting and clever way for them to include Verdansk in the lore of what's coming up. It also makes sense for them to bring Verdansk back into the storyline, but in this new way is incredibly exciting. Just the prospect of Verdansk coming back in any sense of the word is exciting to a lot of players. But this theory isn't so quite watertight, and I'm going to show you some slight things as to why this might not be the case. Now, if we look at the road in the bottom right, we can see that the road leads into a tunnel. If we look at some of the spawn points which you can start a game of Building 21 at, you're starting in the underground garage where I assume this road leads down into, because if you look behind you, you can see grates where there is clearly a road that will take you outside. And a tunnel like this did not exist in the original Verdansk or even in Verdansk 84. It was just a clear bit of road, and the road stayed above ground. As pointed out by a fellow viewer of the channel, Killer Stitch, big shout out to you, he points this out as well and says that it is a road slash tunnel. It is very clearly a road that leads down to a tunnel, and when we look at the original Verdansk, there was not a tunnel here. It was just straight road on flat ground above ground. And so even though lining up Building 21's two roads to the Verdansk map with those roads lining up, sure, they line up, but that doesn't explain why the road on the right leads into a tunnel. That tunnel would have had to have been built, and Building 21 is located underground. Now, to me, it just doesn't make sense for that to have been built after the fact. It is one of the counter arguments to the theory as to this not being Verdansk. Now, there are some other very exciting potentials on what this could be if we're involving the overall Call of Duty storyline, involving Black Ops Cold War and even Vanguard if we need to. If you recall, during the first Outbreak Easter egg, we stopped Operatia Inversia, where Peck was able to supercharge the power of Ethereum crystals onto Reality Inversion warheads and was going to be launching them, but we stopped those launches from happening in a undiscovered missile silo. Now, that was all in 1984, and whatever happens next in the Cold War story is obviously taking place before Modern Warfare 2. If they still wanted to involve that storyline somehow into this game, then this could also be from a Operatia Inversia warhead that created this very obvious nuclear crater. Building 21's existence could also have relation to the ending of the first raid, Atomgrad, where we see a Soviet nuclear missile in Al-Qatala's possession. We're not quite sure what exactly Al-Qatala are planning, but they could be planning to attack Building 21, as Building 21 could contain technology which AQ would use in order to make this Soviet missile even more destructive. There is a ton of different ideas, and at this point, no idea is wrong or right. It's just so good to brainstorm and think about what could be happening here in the future of this storyline. At the end of the day, this is just a theory. We have no idea if this is right or wrong. It's just the community trying to piece together all of the clues that IW are leaving us. Let me know what you think about this down below in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to know if you have any theories of your own. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop this video a like, subscribe, and on your screen now, you can check out the ultimate guide to Building 21. So when it comes back in a few days' time, you have the ultimate guide to help you tackle it and know what to do.